No, we'll be okay now. Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome back on behalf of Pitch Put Ireland here to our second evening of interviews with our 2021 National Strokeplay Championships from the weekend before last in Navan and Tullamore. Obviously, last Thursday night we spoke to our intermediate and junior ladies and men's winners last Thursday night, but tonight we're going to be speaking to our two senior winners from Tullamore and Navan, they being Geraldine Ward of Portmarnock, the senior ladies, and later we'll be speaking to Team Donnelly of Killineer and Louth about his victory in the senior men's competition. I'd like to thank Pitch Put Ireland Vice President Mark Johan for hosting this again tonight. Mark, thank you very much.
No bother. Sure, look, it's an absolute pleasure. Anything that can, promote our game and get us out there, and I think it was a very elegant solution for a problem we had that when we were split up so much last weekend, and I think it might be, never mind, an elegant solution for this. I think it might be the way forward from now on. Anyway, here we go now. So hopefully Geraldine will pick up the call now.
Yeah, just to say as well to people, for those who don't have Facebook
Evening,
accounts, we'll also be on YouTube.
Hello.
Hello, Ger.
Hiya.
Hello, Ger. How are you doing?
Not too bad, thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us, Ger. I suppose we'll start by saying, welcome back firstly. I suppose it's nearly 2 years since we've seen you at a national competition. I suppose how good it feels to be back firstly, I suppose, before we talk about winning it itself.
Yeah, it was great to be back. It was. Now, I'd a long road to recovery. I knew myself it was going to take a while. And it just happened that with COVID hitting, it gave me that extra time to get better, but I'd say 75% better, and it's great to be back. It's hard for a game you love not to play it.
I suppose, kind of, you're watching from the sidelines, what did you make of things? Obviously, Martha O'Brien made the breakthrough with Liz Quinn, obviously winning Kilbeggan back in June. And then we had that final between Chrissy and Breda White that went to the last hole in Royston. Just, I suppose, what did you make of watching it from the sidelines?
I was delighted for Martha. Martha's been knocking on the door for a while. And it's good to see someone young in the game, like younger than myself, like breaking through, and Breda White, you'd always expect to be there, to be honest with you. Breda's an air warrior when it comes to playing, and I knew Chrissy would do. I knew Chrissy'd get to the final, especially with it being in Royston. That's their home course. I'm actually surprised that another Royston girl didn't make it, that it wasn't an all Royston final, but I was delighted for Breda as well.
Sure, was it well planned out for you in advance, think, or was it just something close to the time that you decided you would put your name in?
Earlier in the year, we really only went back. Portmarnock was very strict on the COVID. We really only went back like Saturday to Saturday, and it was time sheeted, and you could only arrive down on your time and stuff like that. But I got a few games in. I had a few Saturdays off work, and I got a few games in, and myself and Sheila decided then, look, it's time, we will enter it. I wouldn't go for the match play because it was too many rounds over a weekend, but I said, I love Tullamore and we'll give the stroke play a go, yeah.
I suppose obviously in 2018, you beat Chrissy on the final hole there in that final, so I suppose it was probably nice to go back there just 3 years on from that.
Yeah, Tullamore, I have to admit, I love playing Tullamore now. It's a very tough course, Tullamore. The front nine isn't too bad, but when you get onto the back nine is very, very tough. Not the 17th and 18th as much. It's more, say, from 12 up to 16. They're very, very tough. Apart from the pitching of it, you have to be dead accurate with your pitching, on line with your pitching, because if you're either left or right, no matter what, you're going to kick and you're going to go off the green and down. But them 5 holes in particular, you've a certain landing area on every green, and they're very, very, very tough. And
I suppose, continue, George, sorry.
I went down with Sheila and Siobhan Keeley and Glenda the weekend before, and we stayed overnight on the Saturday night. So we played Saturday and Sunday, and I was very happy with the way it was pitching. And so I said I was looking forward to going down, and it was great too that you could drive down, play the 36 and come home. You know, you had no COVID restrictions and that, in hotels and everything like that. It was good. It was grand, you know.
I suppose, how did it feel on Sunday morning itself, kind of going back? I suppose a lot of people were going to be wondering how we would do, having not played competitively for 2 years. I suppose, just how did you feel, say, before you went up to the first tee box?
I was looking forward to seeing all the girls, because I hadn't seen a lot of them in nearly 2 years. And they were very well. A lot of them said welcome back. It was great. Walking up the tee box, when I was walking up to the tee box, of course, I'd met Margaret Hogan beside me, and me and Margaret had many a duel and played many time together. And it was great actually playing with Margaret. Margaret's a lady. I love playing with Margaret.
I suppose, obviously, when you think back, John Manning put in his stats, suppose, going back to the 90s. Obviously, Margaret even stretches back further in terms of her own achievements, I suppose. Is it amazing, kind of, as the decades go on, George, to still be there and be at the top like this?
I turned 57 there, in August, and I have to admit, I never thought I'd be winning in my 50s. But it's just that, unfortunately and unfortunately in the ladies' game, you have, you have an elite group of ladies playing at the top level of it. And, basically when you go and enter these All-Irelands, that it's going to be the same 6 or 8 that you're going to sort of have to compete again. But I will admit, going down, hand in heart, I said to myself, if I can finish in the top 3, get a medal out, I'd be very happy. I never thought I'd win it now, I have to admit.
A fantastic start for you, 7 under par. Obviously, it would be the score you finished with, but just, were you a small bit flattered with how well you played in the first round?
I was surprised, even though I did pitch very well the weekend before practicing. I just focused, I just relaxed and focused on what normally, my outlook on pitch and putt is always, if it goes on the day, it goes on the day. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I just pitched very well. I was actually quite disappointed with me putting. I didn't put well, even though I was 7 under. That 7 under could have easily been a 10 or 11. I missed 2 little 3-footers. But the short ones weren't easy. The greens look magnificent from afar, but when you were actually on them, up around the holes and that, you had to know the course. They were that little bit bumpy, but still in great condition, not taking anything away to Tullamore, and you had to be really eyed in on the putting. And I come off on, as you say, at 7 under, and personally myself, I could have been 10. Mm-hmm. I did leave shots out there.
I suppose during the second round, were you trying to hold the score in one way? Was it hard to make progress? Were you trying to say, if I hold this now, that I might win it, or did you feel that you would have had to get a small bit higher up?
Yeah, I didn't have a clue what way I stood, because I was sort of out in the middle of the field, and there was good players behind me and good players in front of me. And when I handed my card in the first round, I didn't look at scores. I don't like to chase scores. I like to just go out and focus on what I'm doing. And I didn't look. And I met Jim up around the 6th hole, and he said, "Keep going, you're going grand." So when he sort of said that to me, I had a feeling I was in front, and I had actually got to 11 under at that stage. But I just took my mind off it for 4 holes, and that 11 soon went back to 7. And then I said, right, just focus on here and hold on to the 7 you had. Maybe it'll be good enough. So when he came in, he said, Jerry says, I think you have this, because he said, I think next to me was 2 under in the first round or something. So I said, look, if it's going to be, it'll be. So we'll wait and see.
Was having Margaret there as a playing partner, was it kind of a good guide for you in one way, because obviously Margaret would be up there in contention herself? Did you kind of try and match yourself against her as in terms of what she was doing as you were going around?
Yeah, in the first round, Margaret sort of she played well, but she let one or two things you'd never expect from Margaret, like little putts she missed as well, and she seemed to, everything seemed to be going to the hole, just not hit hard enough, and they would miss with the turn of the hole and stuff like that. Like for Margaret to have 56 on the first round in Tullamore, it means it's something that she just wasn't on her A game, but she brought her A game the second round, and she got to 3 or 4 under at one stage for that round, and she had a little bit of a follow-on. So in my mind too, I said to myself, they're pushing Margaret, so it mustn't have been that hot of scores inside that if they still think Margaret has a chance of winning. And then, like myself, we just lost focus a little bit on the back, and she dropped 1 or 2 as well. But you can't, like, if you follow Margaret, you won't be far off, you know. She's just a fantastic player.
Indeed. I suppose it's your second time in a row winning the Strokeplay over 36. It was that distance in Collins as well in 2018. I suppose just how do you feel, Ger? I know there is a debate about it, but I suppose in general, overall, now that restrictions are being lifted, the 24 can be allowed. Do you kind of feel that 36 is something that should be considered more permanently going into the future?
I would. Now, people might find it weird, but I would, because you know yourself, you're trying to get ladies to enter these competitions, and a lot of the ladies feel over 54 that it's like a qualifying round, the first 2 rounds, to get into the last, say, 12 or 10. And I think that's pulling away from the entries a bit. I think if it's 36 straight through, and it's a much better, I think, for the whole field.
I suppose just overall, you're obviously encouraging. I suppose we see some of the names entering across the grades. Obviously, Una Braston coming back at intermediate level. Obviously, Margaret Hennessy from Riverdale has had good success at junior. And I suppose as well, we had the National Girls Match Play Final as well this year. I suppose it's very encouraging up along the lines for the game going into the future.
Oh yeah, of course. It's great to see new faces and old faces. Let's face it, we're losing a lot of our members that we had for years and years entering these competitions. And we need to try and get people to enter them, because if we don't get the entries, we've no competitions. And the ladies' game needs outside competitions. You know, we all play within our club, but to go away and socialise and meet people and have a bit of fun, you need the outside competitions. Because as it is with through COVID and all, the Opens are struggling to keep going ahead, and there's a lot of scratch cups, all right, but not everyone is into the scratch cups, especially the women. But I feel we need to coax as many women as we can within our club to enter these outside competitions and get a feel for them. Some might like them, some mightn't. But even if we got 1 out, maybe 5, you know, it's to get the entries back up again and hang on to the ladies' game. We need it very bad in pitch and putt.
Indeed. I suppose just for yourself, Ger, kind of going into the future, is it something you'll take year by year in terms of what you decide to compete in, obviously, as the years go by?
Yeah, unfortunately, Liz, like the injury I picked up can hit in at any time. You know, it depends on how much I play or what I do. I'm limited to what I can even do and stuff like that within the house, like hoovering and stuff. But it will. I'll mainly go for stroke plays, I will admit, and more the less, say, rounds or holes I have to play, the better. But I won't be giving it up. I'm playing more within my club, thank God, at the moment this year. And like we got an influx of women into Portmarnock, like they had to stop taking. Like we have 150, I think, or 100, yeah, about 150 women. And when I tell you it's time sheeted on a Saturday, we've 70 women playing on a Saturday. 70. I've never seen 70 women in Portmarnock. We're actually taken over. The men having as many on a Sunday as the ladies have on a Saturday. We're the highest playing members in Portmarnock, and we have to timesheet it. There's that many, and they love it. They absolutely love it. I'm doing a bit of coaching with the new people, and some of the long-term members ask me like as well. And I've done 3 sessions now, and I was to have one last Thursday, but unfortunately the rain was very heavy. But I'm enjoying coaching them, and they're lovely women, and like even if you can get a few of them to enter, but even just to keep the game up within the club and keep our membership up, it'll be a good thing.
I suppose just one finally, Ger, I saw there obviously your colleagues at work in Super Value gave you a very nice cake.
Oh, yeah.
To commemorate your win. I suppose was it a nice touch, I suppose, obviously after being away, for it to be honoured. I know obviously it's not the first time you've won, but I suppose at this stage was it a nice touch for where you are
yes.
for your career.
I've one or two. I work in the bakery in Super Value and Swords in the pavilions, and I've one or two. There's a chap in there, he's very good at bowls, and me and him are always talking sport. And I don't know how he found out, but he did. He found out because when I come back Monday, all the pans and everything were banging in. I was in at 6 o'clock. I was in on the bread. I was in at 6 o'clock, and they were banging on the tables and everything. How the hell did they find out like that? I had one, you know. But no, it was great, and the manager came down and congratulated me and all my colleagues. It was lovely. They actually, a lot of them didn't even know I played pitch and putt, you know. I mean, when they heard it was my 23rd, the manager nearly fell out of his shoes. Yeah, no,
That's the problem.
They were very, 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 very kind to me.
Indeed, very nice, Judge. Listen, thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us this
You're
evening.
very welcome.
It's great to have you back, and hopefully we'll talk to you again in 2022 when we have a proper fixture list back, hopefully.
No problem. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good night. See ya.
Thanks, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Wow. Just...
Passion is still there after all these years.
Still, yeah. And look, a couple of texts came in there. Anthony Kelly says, pure class. And she is, in fairness. I'm absolutely delighted. What she said there in her last thing, I'm doing a bit of coaching in the club and helping the new members.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely overjoyed. Because, you know, so I'm going to be giving that to Jordan and saying, look, Jordan will be a level 1 there next year shortly. We'll get you the qualification. But that's what the game needs. It needs the Geraldine Wards and the Ray Murphys and all these people to get it into the club and give a bit back and bring on the next people. So absolutely brilliant. So I'm delighted for her, in fairness. She's struggled a lot with that injury, so she's done very well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And there's always waiting Donnelly to come on the call.
I will ring.
Just as well for people that are tuning in late, anyone that doesn't have a Facebook account, this will also go up on YouTube tomorrow as well.
Is this the first time you and me will be involved in an interview with another player, and all 3 of us are of the one affiliation?
Oh, that affiliation, yes.
Well, Ian is an absolute nut, much like myself.
Not to you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You'll never walk. Hello, Ian.
Hello, Ian.
Hello, Jason. How are you?
Not too bad, no. I suppose firstly, Ian, it is on what sort of a feeling is it?
What sort of a feeling? Oh, amazing. Still can't believe it. Thought I'd never do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that high, top class field on that day.
Mm-hmm. I suppose what was it like last Saturday in the club at the Scratch Cup? I know you won the last 18 prize, you won a back 18 prize. Just what sort of a feeling? Did you meet a lot of people for the first time since last Sunday there?
We had the mayor draw her up for pictures. And all that. My whole family saying it's very overwhelming. I don't know how to play, but I did. So it was it would be a disrespectful thing to say. It was a bit of a come down from the big tournament the week before. But enjoyable. The amount of people that played in the course that day, 164 people.
I suppose, Ian, can I go back to 1997 with you? Obviously, it was I suppose what were you like? Obviously, you were second that year in 3 points, John Walsh. I suppose probably what were you thinking? Did you think you would be waiting that long for a chance as close as that again?
To tell you the truth, John, I never, after that, like, my life took a different direction, and I never thought I was good enough, to tell you the truth. That's the honest answer. Just over the last few years, like, I'm in a great job of employment at the moment, and like, my life is in a good place and everything, even though I'm carrying an injury. But like, I felt good going to Navan that week. You know.
Obviously, I suppose winning an inter-county with Louth as well in 2002 was a great achievement. Obviously, when you look at how many years Cork won it afterwards, it certainly was an achievement that stood out for a few years.
Well, the real reason Cork have been so successful, their whole team, they compete as a team. There's no individuals when they go and play in the county. That's probably the way other teams have been lacking over the years. That's only my opinion. So some people might disagree, Jason, but that's my opinion.
I suppose in the last 5 years, I suppose you have got a nice degree of prize. Obviously, you won the Leinster Match Play in 2016. You got the best non-mixed prize in Scotch foursomes with Sean Clarkin 2 years ago. I suppose, obviously, you were kind of in and around the prizes all the time at major events. I suppose, was that something to keep your enthusiasm for the game up?
I absolutely love the game, Jason. Like, it's a great sport. Like, the people you meet in the sport, the places where you travelled and all the competition. Like, I absolutely love it. Like, I'm playing since I was 13 years of age, like 33 years. I absolutely love it. You know.
And I suppose, in obviously going to Navan, had you played it much prior to last Sunday? Had you played it a lot over someone you knew would be on there?
I played it every year in the Ropens and the Scratch Cups. Like, I was lucky to win the Scratch Cup in 2015. I was runner-up the year after, and I was kind of runner-up this year. Like, Evan Carey blew the lights out in 19. I thought I had a chance of 17, but I felt good. I went over and practicing in one day, and I felt good going to it that morning.
I suppose when you were out in one of the last groups, but obviously when you got there and you heard that Anthony Culhane was after starting off with the score he had, what was your mindset going out there?
Well, my mindset going out was trying to get as close as you can to Anthony, which was a savage score. But like, try and get as close so you could put a bit of pressure on him the first 9 holes. And like, I was out in a good 3-ball with Sean Goggin and the super Shane Murphy. Like, they was going to push each other the whole way around.
How did you feel when 19 would have been a score you would have targeted going out there initially?
Well, like, Anthony's score was phenomenal. Like, I said to myself going out, like, I said, if I do 246s, I might be in the mix. But like, if that had been the case, I would have been 6 shots behind. But to be 3 shots behind going out, it gave me a bit of a chance.
And I suppose just as the playoff progressed, obviously you mentioned Sean, who has been knocking on the door himself for a long time. Shane Murphy won this back in St. Anne's in June. I suppose it was a very good 3-ball, I suppose, to be open in terms of trying to get as good a score as possible.
True. Like, Sean got off to a flyer 7 through 10, so I kind of said if I can get near to him, I might put a bit of pressure coming in the final stretch, which I did. Sean's put on the 13 when I missed his pitching kind of just went off a bit, you know, and I got close 14, 15 and 16. I missed a terrible putt in 17, but I hit a good putt in 18 and it just didn't break as much as I thought it would. And then
I suppose
sorry, Jason.
I suppose just when you came off the course, obviously I know you mentioned the 2 putts you missed there that could have sealed it there. Then just what were you thinking when you came off the course? Were you aware that Damien Fleming still had a chance to level you up?
I saw him pitching the last hole, which is a fabulous reply. I thought that's what he is. I might say that he's a robot playing. It's class, top class. Like I said, I'm going to do well to play, but I said, like why take that attitude? Go out with positive attitude and like try and push him. But unfortunately, luck was on my that day. That 7-3. Thank God he got to 7-3 then.
Ian, I suppose going out, obviously, look, he went ahead after the first hole. Did you, I suppose, look, if it's a match play playoff and a stroke play playoff are two different things, obviously, because what can happen at one hole can change in a lot more way than a match play playoff could. What were you trying to play? Were you just taking it each hole at a time, or did you not try and play match play in your head?
No, I tried to take it one hole at a time, just focus on what I was doing. Because if I got involved in a match play, I probably would have 3-put 1 or 2 holes, like going, like, well, I had the only really long putts I had was really the second and the 8. Like, if I just concentrate one hole at a time, that's what I did, do my own thing. Which unfortunately I hit a poor pit. I couldn't swing the club in the night I was that next.
I suppose obviously look, it all changed in the 7th as you mentioned because of the 3. I suppose obviously look, the 8th, you matched each other and then you come to the 9th. I suppose the crowd, Ian, I suppose for those of us that were watching it on the streams, looked, what was it like playing in front of that crowd? Had you ever played in front of the crowd?
Yeah, it's nice when we played in that kind of crowd environment right at the end of counties over the years when you were in contention, and the Irish International in 1997 against Australia, Canada and England in Glenville and Tala. Well, like, I took everything in stride. I thought it was great. The amount of people there, you had to walk through the crowds and all that. I thought it was great. And all the crowds were the whole crowd was very respectful to 2 players in the playoff.
I suppose when you knew you had 2 putts to win it, just what sort of a feeling was that?
I thought I was going to fall on my knees. I couldn't hold myself up. That's the truth. But it was great to see it 2 putts. I said I can tip this and tip it in for a bogey. I missed it, but I went in, and Jesus, everything just flew out then. The emotions.
I suppose the presentation, Ian, obviously you've seen so many of them. You've seen so many fellas go up and get that cup. Just, I suppose, what sort of feeling was it going up to accept the cup off Mervyn? What would I put it? Eventually get my name on the Donnelly Cup, as it's called, to have a Donnelly name. Indeed.
That was going through my head. And I said to myself, please don't start breaking down, and please speak without stuttering. That's why I left it short and sweet. And I'd like to apologise to Damon Fleming for saying Damon Fleming from Clare. He's actually from Kerry. So I apologise for that. I did. The only time when I saw the video back, I said, oh my God.
I'd be more upset if you said he was from Cork.
Don't say that.
I'm not sure about that, lads.
But he's
Ian,
an
Ian,
absolute...
indeed. He's chairman of my club. I know what he's like. What I suppose, Ian, can I just ask you about the club? Killineer, obviously, it was known as Cement for years. Obviously, the name changed, I think, about 4 or 5 years ago now. Obviously, Jack Carr made a great effort at the junior the day before in Stack Allen. I suppose, how significant a win for the club is it?
Like, it's not the change in the whole club, but like, our club is on, as you can see you probably see by our membership this year, it's flying. It's gone through the roof. We actually had to stop taking in membership with that many. Like, I'm the secretary of the club, and to see all our young players playing the juniors as well, I think that's a great inspiration for anyone. Like, I love going over and watching them. The future of the game at the end of the day, you know. And it's great to have a big batch of young players at the moment in Killineer, pitch and putt. It's great. There's great future in Louth for the game of pitch and putt.
Ian, I suppose, look, at this stage, obviously, well, like, what I suppose it is the pinnacle for some. I suppose at this stage, what more would you like to go on and achieve now?
Well, I'll never achieve as much as 007 Mr. Ray Murphy. That's why I nickname him. He knows that. He's one of my best friends. Like, I think that his brother-in-law rang me there during the week. Look, we brought Donnelly down to the house to stay for St. Anne's, and look, I'm now, ever since he stayed in the house, he's had to go on and being the champion. You know, I think that's great as well, like, you know.
Yeah.
The whole Murphy family are absolutely fabulous, and I can't thank them enough for what they've done for me over the years. Yeah, the Campbell family from Drogheda, the Taunton family from Drogheda and the Fagan family from Drogheda. They've done a lot for me over the years in pitching, but and I can't thank them enough.
Indeed. I suppose, overall, I suppose, look, it was the first 54-hole competition of the year. I suppose, look, hopefully we'll see a lot more of it next year. Just how did you find the day itself? I know, obviously, when you were there and you have to play an extra 9 holes, it feels grueling. But just, I suppose, how did it feel to be back playing 54 holes again?
Absolutely fabulous. To be in the mix as well made it even special. Like, for people watching on the course and online, like, it's a great spectacle for the game. I think pitching is after going up in a lot of people's estimate now, after seeing that we've done Navan pitching for and Strokeplay and Tullamore.
Indeed. Ian, I suppose, have you much more left to play this year before you hang the clubs up for the year, or are you going to start hibernating now?
Portmarnock and Inniskeen's on the weekend, and then the Mead Masters, and then Eden Scratch Cup. That'll be me done for the year, and hopefully in the late part of the year, me knee.
So the regional match plays is doubtful, so is it?
I'll be doubtful, yeah, Jason. Like, again, the results with me, I'm right now, the 14th of October. Like, I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, so I have to take it from there, Jason.
Well, we wish you well. We wish you all the best with that anyway, Ian. And I suppose just in closing, Ian, thank you very much. Congratulations on your victory. And we look forward to talking to you again in 2022. Thank you very much.
You will indeed. You'll hear me before you see me.
Indeed. Ian, thanks again.
Thank you. All right, Mark.
Absolutely. Come on the pool. Cheers, Ian. Thanks a million, man.
No problem, Mark. Thanks very much, and
Thank
you.
you.
Safe. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Um,
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our 2 nights of interviews with our 2021 National Strokeplay winners. Our thanks to both Ger Ward and Ian Donnelly this evening, along with our intermediate and junior winners last Thursday night, for taking part in this initiative and for being so forthcoming. Mark, I suppose, in their thoughts, it was great to get a perspective from them.
well, I suppose the one thing I'll say is, and we discussed at the start, this series of interviews came out because we were so stretched with the 3 venues, and this thing just popped in, and whatever, we said we'd do it. We got great interviews last Thursday night, but to get the insight from those 2 champions tonight at the top of our game, I'm not sure you'd never have got that last Sunday evening, Jason, or a week last Sunday, because it's not fresh in their head. They get a chance, and to hear Ian talking there like that, there was obviously issues and whatever after 97, and he thought it was gone and maybe not give up the game or whatever, and to come back and now to be a champion, look, it's phenomenal, really, what's happened, and for Ger Ward at 57 years of age, it just shows age is no barrier in this game, none.
Yeah, well, our tagline is you can play the game from 8 to 80. And obviously Matt McCardle from Clog, as we saw, celebrating his 90th
Absolutely,
birthday.
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
And look, what do they say? Form is temporary, class is permanent. And Ian has been close over the years, and was it ever happened? But like I was there that evening and watching, and he missed the putt on the 17th in the 18-hole playoff, and if he got it, it was over, it was done. Missed it, and I was worried about him. You'd be saying, that's it. You're going out in the playoff playing Damien Fleming, like what you've got to do. But look, he was outstanding, and I was talking to Miles McMurrow, and he said that some of the play in Tullamore from the ladies, in particular, Ger, was outstanding as well. Like 7 under for a lady around Tullamore is stunning pitch and putt.
Yeah,
for anyone.
Very true.
If I could get anywhere close to 7 under around Tullamore, I'd be dancing a jig. So look, I think it's been a great year for pitch and putt, foreshortened as it is. We got in our juvenile championships. We've got the senior championships in. Yes, I know we didn't get in everything, and we said we wouldn't because we were focusing on the club game as much as possible. And Ian has just mentioned the clubs there, still going into October, scratch cups and everything going on. So look, next year is a new year, full schedule, please God. and everyone will be up and running. Full schedule, which means we'll be even busier, Jason.
Indeed. Well, Mark, it's hard to follow that. I suppose thanks to everyone again. I suppose best luck to everyone who's playing in the concluding scratch cups for the year, as well as the county and regional board match plays, which are set for the October bank holiday weekend. We hope to be back maybe in November or prior to Christmas with another feature like this to close off the year. But for tonight, thanks to both Ger Ward and Ian Donnelly, as well as you, Mark. Thanks very much, everyone. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Cheers. Bye-bye.